Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Desktop Alert Healthcare Mass Notification webinar. And I would like to thank you guys so much for taking this time. We're going to have an amazing, one-of-a-kind presentation here about mass notification services that you're not going to see anywhere else. Now, in just a couple of moments, I will be starting my PowerPoint presentation, which will drive this, but I just wanted to go over a couple of things that will make the presentation so much more engaging for everybody. So if you're doing good and you're feeling good about the webinar, go ahead and click the thumbs up emoji to let me know that your screen is looking good and you're able to hear me okay. All right. Let me just put a little message into the chat too. Can you hear me? Feel free to go into the chat and just put a little message in the chat window that says, yes, I can hear you. Oh, William, thank you so much. Good to have you, William. All right, thanks for joining. I can see some other folks putting messages in saying they can't see the slides yet, and that would be because I haven't started sharing the slide deck yet. So stand by on the slide deck share. And we're going to get started in just a minute. All right, so thank you again so much for joining us, and we're going to dive right into this webinar now, a healthcare mass notification made easy. Okay, fantastic. All right, so my name is Dan Ryan. I'll be doing a portion of this presentation today, as will some of our other subject matter experts. Okay, we have John Monville with us, who is our program manager at Desktop Alert, Rick Larson, who is an industry-known expert emergency manager and subject matter expert. As well, we're joined today by Howard Ryan, the founder of Desktop Alert and a pioneer in mass notification software. All right. A little bit more about myself. Again, my name's Dan Ryan. I am PMP certified as well as Agile certified with over 20 years experience implementing enterprise corporate systems for companies of all sizes. All right, now you might be asking, what is mass notification? Well, mass notification is the ability to rapidly and securely send alerts to the people who matter most to you. All right, this is directed information to individuals and or groups, all right, to provide them information on situational awareness during crises, okay? Now, what is the need? Well, you know, you have life, safety, emergency situations, okay? Could pull from the news some things that are going on. Obviously, active shooter. Every organization is responsible to manage their employees and their property risks from these very devastating, catastrophic events, which are very rare, but you know, we're seeing them happen more and more every day. And businesses have a need, right? It's not just always emergencies, but they have a need. They have business interruptions as well. Okay, you can have organizations that'll experience 4 to 5 even downtime events a month. Each one of those events includes a cost that's occurred with that. Lost productivity. Did you know that it's greater than 50% of organizations that have had outages or disasters or catastrophes that have lasted longer than 8 hours? All right, now 100% of organizations have had some sort of outages, especially with big disasters. Our IT system outages can be the most costly, though, when we lose servers. Every organization has a need to have rapid and secure communication. All right, and there is an ROI because daily emergencies annually are amazingly expensive. Okay, so what are the applications? Well, all too well known is the active shooter lockdown situation, especially for schools and medical facilities, mass casualties, natural disasters, codes, and even if we need to recall emergency personnel, right? We have, like for exercises, and emergency preparedness. The CONOPS plan refers to Department of Defense acronym But, you will need at times to pull all of your emergency personnel in, and this tool is a fantastic way to communicate with them at that time. Okay, on another scale, system outages, infrastructure outages, server outages, workarounds, okay, facility and workflow changes, administrative notifications, right? What about upcoming events? Maybe you just want to send a notification out about some training sessions or some meetings to make sure that everybody shows up. You might have important business policies and procedure updates that would be relevant to your user community. And then on the lower end, bulletins, employee messages, and making sure everybody shows up to the next company luncheon. So our design for mass notification is a unified alerting platform. All right, this is a scalable platform. All right, directed multi-endpoints and multimedia alerts, and it uses standard interfaces, okay, integrating through open APIs, as well as email and Active Directory type of synchronizations. This is a proven and certified system. It's been used by the Department of Defense. It's been used by medical institutions and educational facilities across the world. What's great about it is that it's very easy to use. There's no special computer skills required. It's intuitive. Anyone could do it with minimal training, all right? So you'll be happy to know that. You'll also be happy to know that the system is easily configured to meet your organizational structure. All right. And we apply a standards-based approach where we're not going to have any special proprietary IT infrastructure that's needed. This is all standard ports and protocols with the data encrypted, highly encrypted data control. All right. We utilize in-place computational infrastructure. What you have, we know how to match to, all right? And, there's other considerations, of course, such as help stations or activation devices. And, even some institutions we work with use panic buttons, okay? Every organization has these needs, but every organization has their own set of needs. Okay, a single dashboard to increase the employee awareness and the public safety. All right, you can have early alerts which will avoid emergencies, reduce risk, and quell rumors. All right, the system training and usage ensures preparedness. Mass notification is all about reducing, mitigating, or avoiding risk. And what you're doing now by attending this webinar is taking your first steps in risk identification and risk response planning, all of which will allow you to eliminate or reduce the impact of these disasters if they occur in your organization. And who wouldn't want to reduce risk and improve their ROI with faster response times, with an improved focus on their own situational awareness? We want to be able to maximize in-place resources and reduce any confusion and associated costs. As we described earlier, the continuity of our operations also has extra tangible benefits. All right, we can build community trust as we integrate our systems within the communities of concern around us. We have low-cost, redundant communication platform so that there is no single point of failure. And we do secure, encrypted messaging platforms. So this is some of the really exciting overviews of mass notification and some of the really key major benefits associated with it and why it's important for you to consider this seriously for your organization. So at this point, I would like to do a little recap on what we've talked about, as well as discussing some more, highlights of the application. So what I would like to do, though, with that is I would like to introduce a subject matter expert on this particular topic and someone who has had 20 plus years of experience in the industry. All right, John, why don't you introduce yourself?
All right. Well, I think this is John Monville. 20 plus years experience across the healthcare, in the military, the government, and commercial nonprofit type entities and organizations. And it's very interesting. What we find is hospitals inherently understand the need for rapid, secure communication. And as we go through, what I'm going to try to do here is just recap. Dan did a wonderful job of quickly going through some of the components, but I'd like to recap. Let's talk about the applications. Now, again, hospitals are deal with daily life safety situations. And so not just your big things like active shooters and such, but you deal with the alarm codes, code blue, code gray, code black. Every hospital has a set of codes that they use. So here's another mode to get that message out very rapidly, very securely, and to the specific endpoints that you're looking to get to, and to the specific groups and individuals. And so hospitals have this great need, healthcare has this great need, along with the daily business interruptions. Who has more information systems than a hospital? And you've got a lab system and an operating room system, and you've got pharmacy and the ED and radiology, and each one of these entities within your organization has a system, and one or more of those systems often run into issues on a daily basis. So here's a way to quickly, rapidly, securely, not just get the message to the people that says that, hey, we know there's a problem, but let's go a step further. Let's give them the information on what to do in the interim. Let's minimize that downtime and minimize the impact. So when you're looking at this, you want to have a system that is designed to be unified communication to multiple endpoints. Certainly that system has to be scalable. Your organization may be as small as 10, 20, 50 people or into the tens of thousands of people. You need a system that can scale as you scale and as you grow and as your needs grow. Certainly, any system like that has to be easy to use. You need a system that in a time of need, the person can go to it, they can create that alert, they can send that alert, they can launch that alert without confusion, without having to be a computer expert. We all have seen recently in the news the situation that happened in Hawaii. There's a situation where the system was not easy to use, and the people got extensive training, and it still wasn't enough. You want that system to be easy to use and easy to train. Together and giving you tremendous benefits of having that single dashboard to be able to get the messages out to your organization, that increased awareness. Make sure that people understand what they need, when they need it, and how they need it, and how to come forward. So we're reducing that risk. We're improving the continuity. We're building trust within your organization that they're always going to be kept informed. And certainly any system needs to be redundant and secure. So overall, that's the system you're talking about when you're talking about emergency mass notification. And whether that emergency is a life safety or that emergency is a daily interruption, business interruption, those are all emergencies that you want to be able to manage from a single system. So there's a quick overview of what we see the need for mass notification and how to go about it. Dan?
Yeah, thanks, John. You know, you're so right the way you described those points, and I thought it would be particularly useful if at this time you talked about, looking at what you said as sort of the foundation and bringing in a subject matter expert, for someone who might have actually had the opportunity to have hands-on with this actual system that you're describing. So to that extent, I would like to introduce Rick Larson. And Rick, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your background and what qualifies you in this field?
Thank you, Dan and John. I'm glad to be part of the presentation today. Good afternoon. I'm Rick Larson. I'm an emergency manager that's retired from the Air Force after over 20 years in that endeavor, and now working as a contracted emergency management subject matter expert for both Department of Defense and civilian entities, to include the healthcare organization, education, and commercial endeavors. I first integrated Desktop Alert and its multimodal system while in charge of an emergency management program for an Air Force installation embodying over 1,100 personnel spread out on, probably 40 acres of real estate in the Midwest. So step one was to identify the threats. And I might add that we had a lot of code and local requirements that we had to meet in the installation of this multifaceted system, to include in-building mass notification, wide area outdoor mass notification, and as Dan pointed out, distributed targeted notifications as well. So we could be as discreet as we wanted to be or as obvious as we wanted to be. How did we get there? We used everything from a simple screen pop-up, as you see in the computer alerts near the monitor and globe there, the electromechanical relay interface, which sounds like something out of Back to the Future, but actually we used some alert beacons that were wall-mounted. We also, knowing full well that generationally people get their messaging differently, or may not be on the installation, may be deployed somewhere, but still need to know the information. We did a distributed alert context to the smartphone and iPhone system, utilizing both texting and email and a mobile application that can easily be downloaded. I might add that if you're a healthcare emergency management individual, risk manager, or safety person, you don't have to be sitting at a console 24/7 to send these alerts. You can do that remotely as well. You can also configure the system for remote activation that's unattended through consumption of Common Alert Protocol and IPAWS messages. Moving along, many people use in healthcare the tablets and personal digital assistants that may or may not be open source. So they can be configured to either primary or open architectures. Social media was another critical aspect when configuring the desktop alert system for civilian utilization. Not so much in the military context, but certainly in the civilian media, you see that social channels such as Instagram or such as Twitter, Facebook, these things can be cross-linked. The old-fashioned way is partnering with Ma Bell and getting on the office phone system, be that a digital system, a VoIP system, what have you, can easily be routed through an auto dialer to make seconds quick notifications. And of course, Active Directory can be leveraged and other email systems to provide lightning quick notification across multiple platforms. That being said, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare requirements for emergency preparedness, which haven't been addressed up until this point, predicate that you must have a way to notify people affected by an emergency in a timely and appropriate manner. As we know, in healthcare, not all those messages need to be obvious or should be obvious. Some need to be targeted, some need to be mass notification, some need to be very specific in nature. So this is the ideal system for you to water the eyes of any CMS survey team that would come in and you, like me, would receive a best seen to date. Our system that I integrated at my installation and several others across the Air Force enterprise received best seen to date accolades from the DoD Inspector General. That's the kind of achievement that Desktop Alert provides you. Their tireless efforts in order to help your organization integrate this very valuable capability goes far-reaching in meeting your CMS compliance guidelines.
That's exciting. That is wonderful, Rick. Thank you so much for really, describing and resonating for us exactly how these systems have been utilized successfully by such important institutions like our Department of Defense. But for folks watching this webinar, they might be saying, what about my organization, right? Well, you have to ask yourself several questions. Does your organization have a need, right? Do you need to reduce risk and costs? Do you need to protect people and assets? Do you need to leverage your infrastructure? And do you need rapid and secure communications? So, if you answered yes to any of these questions, then your organization is a serious candidate for a mass notification system. Let me tell you what's involved in getting started. So the big question everybody has, what do you think the big question everybody has is? What's the cost, right? Now, the Department of Defense, they may need to implement systems that are into the tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But, you know, the good thing about Desktop Alert is our scalable and affordable approach for customers in different verticals. Now, is it necessary to implement all these things at once? No. Okay, you can have an incremental implementation of a mass notification system. And where do we start? Well, we start small and then we grow. And we begin with key personnel. Which brings me to considering and discussing with you about a special offer that you might want to consider for your organization's safety and mass notification needs. All right, again, just as a recap, the Desktop Alert system is a highly secureable and scalable and unified system. It's easy to use and train, it's multimodal, and the implementation is done in a single day or less. This product's been proven and used worldwide with extensive past performance successes, such as the ones described by Rick Larson. The system is certified with the highest technical standards across the Department of Defense, NATO, as well as FEMA. And we do have systems that are starting as low as $49.95. But what you might want to consider as a special offer for attending this webinar and showing this interest in mass notification, you might want to consider a crawl to walk approach. There is a Desktop Alert cloud solution, okay, which will be good for 25 users of the system, all hosted through the cloud, all with 99% or better uptime, including the ability for your system to be able to send unlimited computer pop-ups and emails, okay, 500 monthly combined phone calls and text messages across your organization. And as a bonus, Desktop Alert will even set up and configure your entire system for free, saving you a $500 setup fee, as well as you subscribing you to your first month free on the system. So what is the offer? Well, the offer is for the next 5 days, we're going to offer our attendees a 1-year service agreement to a cloud-based mass notification system. It does expire after 1 year. However, don't worry, you'll be having no lapse in your coverage because our support team will be in close contact with you and reaching out with you to renew your service at the end of that term. But at this time, you would be able to take advantage of this offer by signing up at this link, desktopalert.net/contact us, and you will be getting yourself a 1-year service agreement for those terms. All right, so at this time, I'd like to thank you for joining, and I would like to open up the presentation to any types of questions and answers that might be asked. If you have a question, please put it into the employee chat. If you look in the top right side of your window, you'll also see a question mark where you could submit questions and have them answered. All right, I've stopped the screen share for 1 second, and I'm just going to pause here for a minute while I allow people to submit their questions. Okay, let's just give everybody a second. I'm also putting the offer link into the messenger there, and if you want, you can click right on that contact form to be contacted by us for more information about this offer. All right, we do have a question coming in here from John, and the question is, what about if I only need to send desktop alerts and I don't need to send any SMS alerts? Okay, so that's also a very good point. All right, so let me quickly share my screen and just show that slide again for a quick second. That's a good question, John. Thank you. And I'll just tell you that if you don't need to, this is a completely customizable system. All right. And if you don't have a need to utilize standby one, okay, this is a completely customized system. And if you don't have a need for SMS alerts, but you just want to send alerts to the computer in the form of pop-ups, then that's fine. The system is completely customizable in that way. And you can integrate the pieces that you like, and you can not integrate the pieces that you don't like, or you could implement them again in the future. All right, I'm going to stop my screen share for 1 second here, and I'm just going to check my audience questions. Let's see here. Works as advertised. Oh, well, thank you, William. A happy customer. That's great. I'm glad to hear that you like the product and that you find that it works as advertised. That's fantastic. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. All right, I don't see any other questions at this time. Well, again, let me just thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. We all do. Please reach out to us at desktopalert.net/contact us to let us show you how we can help you with your mass notification needs. Thank you, and have a great day.